Has this ever happened to you? Or this? Will this make your memoirs? At Shelter Insurance, we can't iron out all the glitches in modern life. But we can manage your auto, home, and life insurance just fine. Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Get the insurance coverage you need at the right price. Call Mark Manning today.
Dr. Gavin McDowell, Customized Vision Care, and of course we didn't have our comic segment last month. Mindy filled in and did a marvelous job.
I will say this, the one thing that upset me most about that whole thing was that you talked about how much prettier she was than I.
Well, she is, and I'll tell you that right here on the set, my friend. She's a lot
I was
prettier
wanting
than
to know
you.
if you're man upset in my face or
That's
not.
right, I am. Hey, not only that, but there's got to be a reason why you got those glasses on. Are you trying to improve those looks or what?
I'm trying to hide how just overly fashionable I am without them, is what it is.
Well, you look good in those,
I do.
and to see the guy who runs the place have his own product on.
Well, I will say this:
that's pretty neat.
I'm blessed. I actually don't require glasses to see at a distance. But like everybody else, when you hit 40, you got to have a little bit of help with the up close, and it's gotten to where it's.
You got to have something.
I got to have something.
Did you pass the? Do you give yourself do you test yourself when you go to the back and you let the ladies do that?
No,
How does that work?
I do it myself for the most part. Now I got an associate that we.
That's right.
I have her do it for me and all that stuff sometimes. But yeah, I'll do tests. All the bad things that I make you do when you come in here, I do them myself.
Now, do you put your head up there and go? Do you do the 1 or 2?
Well, I don't
three
say
or
it,
4,
of course.
4 or 5, which is better, 6 or 7 or 8?
Yeah.
But you do it, but you don't say anything.
Exactly. I do the exact same thing to myself that you would do that I do to the patients.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, and we're talking about optometry here.
Yeah.
What about if a guy was going to do a colonoscopy? Do you think he could do that by himself, or do you think he might need a little extra help? Will that need extra help?
Oh, I don't know.
Or if a guy was
I'll say this:
cat?
my wife has made comments that I could give myself my own colonoscopy because my head's up there most of the time anyway.
Hey, this is supposed to be a clean program.
That's right, it is.
We're supposed to talk about vision care and eye vision
checking
care.
hindsight too.
That's right. But I do like the glasses. I do like those. Those are
Thank
fashionable.
you.
They make you look distinguisted, and I say that in all sincerity. And
Well, thank you.
I think you got them at the right place. And of
I
course,
did.
I've had mine for several months now, but maybe a little dirty. But what I say this truthfully, I was really having some problems with my right eye, and of course you made fun of me. And when we looked at how long it had been since I had my glasses redone, and you fixed me up, man. I can see. I don't think anything's ever perfect. I mean, nothing's perfect, but I can see as close to perfect as I have ever been able to see in my life.
Like I say all the time, I'm more than just a pretty face. I actually kind of know what I'm doing.
I think you do.
If I don't, I really fake it well.
Well, you've got me convinced. And whether
I got lucky on you.
Yeah, start saying, whether you made a mistake or not, I like these glasses, buddy. I like these glasses.
I'm glad.
Sunglasses, still not a bad time of year. We've got
Absolutely
a lot.
not.
October's got a lot of sun, and we've got sunglasses.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, whether you realize it or not, that big ball of fire is we're going around it all year long.
That's correct.
It's not just during the summer. Their sun is out there, fall, winter, early spring.
That's correct.
And especially with winter coming up, when there's snow and ice on the ground,
horrible.
all that UV we're getting from the sun, we're getting it bounced off that ground as well. And it's it's almost more of a necessity to have sunglasses at those times.
Yeah, in the wintertime when there's snow on the ground and you go out and it is bright and boy, that reflection is tough on you. You do need sunglasses.
Absolutely.
Talk about some of the products you got, Doc. Talk about some of the good products.
Well, the great thing about the products we have is that they're all geared toward not only making you fashionable and making you feel comfortable and look good in them, but they all serve a purpose in one way, shape, or form. With glasses and sunglasses, it's always about protecting the eyes. So even with your clear lenses like these right here that I'm wearing and the ones you have, they're UV protectant.
Right.
We try to get everyone in what's called an AR or an anti-reflectant coat to the lenses just because it cuts down glare, helps you with your night driving. And if you're working on a computer, and I don't know one of y'all out there who aren't working on a computer, a phone, a tablet, or something like that, you got a lot of glare coming off those peripheral devices. We're just trying to protect your eyes with the products we have. So.
No doubt about that. Now let's talk a little bit about some technology, new technology
Yeah,
that come to the office that you're excited about.
Yeah, we're actually, they'll be airing in October,
That's
right?
correct.
Okay, by the time this airs, we will have a new piece of equipment in the office. It's what's called an ERG and a VEP. And an ERG is basically an electroretinograph, and a VEP is a visually evoked potential.
Okay.
What that means is one part of the device can actually measure the back of the eye as far as how much stimulus it's getting without you having to give me a response. And what that means is we have a lot of great technology here already. But one thing that's a staple in optometry and ophthalmology is what's called a visual field. And that's where you probably, a lot of y'all have done it. You put your head in a box, you have to click a button every time you see a flash or a squiggle or something. It's very boring, it is, but it gives us a lot of subjective information as far as what your eye's seeing, what part of your retina is working correctly, which parts aren't, and why. And the great thing about this new piece of equipment is it does something along the same lines. It'll tell us what part of your retina is working, but it's not dependent upon you paying attention for the 5 to 7 minutes that you're doing the test. It's a lot quicker. We have a little electrode here with a little sensor on top of your forehead, and it basically measures patterns from the retina itself, feeding it into this piece of equipment to let us know this part of the retina is working correctly. The other part of the machine measures what part of your visual cortex, every part from behind your eye, right behind your eye and back. Your visual cortex is back here in the back of your head. So it actually measures, is that part of your brain working when we give it stimulus. And the great thing about that is that we can not only use it as a tool to decide the best course of treatment for someone, but we can also use it to find things that, when I look inside your eye, there's some things I can't see.
Right.
And there's a lot of different clinical information I have to use to make a decision or a diagnosis on something or someone. And this piece of equipment actually gives so much more information that I could find on my own. It could be a game changer. It's going to allow me to measure children who are nonverbal. Give me the ability to say their eyes are working like they're supposed to be working without them having to goo-goo a word at all.
Technology in the world is just so much further advanced in any phase of life than it's ever been before, and just more so in your business. I mean, you have to have that technology to make diagnoses to where you can make recommendations on quote, treatment or solutions to whatever problem you have.
Absolutely.
So I know you're excited about it.
I'm very excited about it because I try to make everyone understand when they come in to see us, it's not a matter of we're going to get you in some fashionable glasses. You're here to get your vision, checked and get it improved. That I know is your primary reason to come see us. My primary goal is to not only get you seeing well, but keep your eyes healthy so that they continue to see well the rest of your life.
Eye health, vision, examination. We talk about health in your eyes a lot, and it's so important to whether the vision part you want to correct the vision part, the bad vision part, but you also want to have healthy eyes.
Exactly.
And great time of year when you talk about October. We're real close to Christmas,
yes.
and this is talking to parents and if, for example, you don't know what to get your child for Christmas, sunglasses are something that, especially younger guys and girls, high schoolers.
Hey, whenever I was a late teen, early 20s, even in my early 30s, which I still am in my early 30s.
Yes, you are, my friend. You certainly are.
You got your 40th birthday coming up. Anyway,
my 40th high school reunion coming up. You've got to. You missed out on that one, brother.
But during that phase of my life, I was very much about matchy-matchy. I wanted to be very fashionable and be up to date with what's in and cool. And that's what we try to do now. And we really get some pushback with some of the older crowd that come in here because we try to keep them in the fashion. We try to keep older gentlemen are always the worst coming in here wanting the dinner plate glasses, big enough you could pick up basic cable off of them. We try to get them down into something more fashionable. But we get some pushback from some of the women too, but really we try to have what's current, what's trending in eyewear, because eyewear is very much it's an accessory, you know.
Absolutely.
And I kid you not, I myself, and it's probably because of the industry I'm in, I've got at least, I've downsized now. I've got at least 10 pair of sunglasses that I go through, and
Different
all
occasions.
depends on, you know, am I running?
Sure.
Am I going to play golf? Am I going to go sit on the back deck with some friends? You know, what am I going to do in those glasses? Because not everybody has one pair of shoes that you do everything
Now,
in.
you're absolutely right.
So why should I, you know, take less initiative in what I'm going to put on my face to, you know, to have less importance?
Great Christmas gifts, great Christmas ideas.
Yeah,
when you talk about
stocking
sunglasses.
stuffers.
Absolutely.
And sunglasses, they serve two purposes. They're going to make whoever you buy them for happy, because sunglasses are it's fashion. It's like you go buy somebody a brand new shirt for Christmas. Why not buy them a pair of new sunglasses? You know?
And you talk fashion, and what you're really trying to say is, I look cool.
That's right. That's exactly what it is.
Right. I look cool.
Yeah.
I like how I look in this.
That's right.
That's what fashion is.
And on the top of that, they're going to be protecting their eyes.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like sunscreen for the eyes themselves.
Doc, good to see you, sir.
Hey, good to see you too, my friend.
You know, I'm going to think about that colonoscopy for a long time.
Well, if you need any help, I know it's a guy who'll do it for like $5 in the back
Yes,
alley.
The results might not be real good.
That's
good to
true.
see you, my friend.
You too.
Let's continue on with more of our show. Well, it's always a pleasure and an honor to come out to Lindley Health and Rehab Center and get to visit with Sherry Hanley, who's always got something special going on. And we have a special guest that we want to talk to today. And tell us who we're going to interview.
We have a very special guest today, Miss Viola Peebles. She has been part of our Lindley family for about 7 months now. She's a pretty amazing lady. If you haven't been to visit her, it's a real pleasure. I get to spend time with her each and every day, and it's very amazing. She's very athletic. She kind of has a nickname. We call her the Aerobic Queen.
We'll ask her in a minute how she got that name.
Yeah. And so I picked her to be on our Spotlight show this month because she's an awesome lady.
Well, Miss Viola, welcome to the program. And you told me you have seen this program before, and you've watched Bud Black on a lot of his interviews.
Yes, I have.
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
to advertise different businesses and like nursing homes.
Yes, ma'am.
hospitals.
Tell us a little bit about Miss Viola Peebles and Newport girl. Been around here for all your life, haven't you?
I've been here for 66 years. My youngest son was born in Newport. We live here, and that's how long I've been here.
66 years. Now, I've got to ask you, and I don't want all...
And I've lived at the air base. I moved out there when the barracks was out there, the
Yes, ma'am.
Army barracks. And then when they cut them up and made little houses, we bought one of the houses, and I'm still in it.
Is that right? Well, you know, my dad got here. My dad was up north, and he got here when he was stationed out at the air base back during World War II, and obviously that's been a few years ago, but let's talk a little bit about you, and amazingly, I picked your age to be about 72, and Sherry told me you were just a little older than
You
that.
were just being nice.
I was as serious as I could be. Do you mind to share with all the folks just how young that you are, young lady?
Did you? I didn't know.
I was just saying, do you want to share with the audience actually how young you are?
I will.
How young are you?
I'm 98 years old.
Wow, that's almost 100 and healthy.
She
And
is.
you know, David, a lot of people want to go back younger, but no way do I want to do that, because the best is yet to be, and I'm moving on.
There you go. I like that. Well, you did tell me that you have been healthy all your life, and you have, when you get to be almost 100, you're going to have a few setbacks. And tell me about the folks here at Lindley and taking care of you.
Well, you know, there's no place like home.
Right?
But the next best thing is Lindley's Health Care and Rehab Center.
Wow.
And they take care of all your needs that you can't take care of yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
And I feel like that all the help is dedicated to their job, the employees. But I'm on Hall 3, And so can't say for sure about the others.
Sure.
But I know all of them on Hall 3 are good. I give them an A, and there's a few of them, or some of them I'd give an A+.
Wow, that is fantastic. Anytime the residents, and I know this, that we've been coming out and doing interviews here with Sherry, and even before Sherry got here, and what a job this young lady does, and lots of activity, lots of things to do.
The activity is remarkable.
It is.
I love that better than anything.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
And
ma'am.
I've won on them competitive games. I've won the beanbag throw several times and the horseshoe throw. And I've won, of course, this is a chance game, I won bingo.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I want to know about the beauty contests that we've been entering in. Tell us about those.
Well, all I know, I was asked to be in it.
Right.
I didn't want to, but my niece was with me when I was asked, and she said, "You are." And I said, "No, I'm not." And she said, "Yes, you are." And she won't take no for an answer. And she's real good to me. She does my laundry and comes every day to see me.
Yes, ma'am.
So I couldn't say no. And that's how come he'd be in it.
So you got him on it, Sherry? What happened?
Well, she came in first runner-up.
Wow.
She looked amazing. She was gorgeous, and she was first runner-up.
First runner-up. That's fantastic.
Was that your first beauty pageant you'd ever been in?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. She's been doing a lot of things since she came to Lindley.
Well, to tell you the truth, I've had a complete turnaround. I've been a serious person all my life, and now I'm just carefree and
That's what happens when you come to Lindley.
That's right.
That's what happens.
That's right. That's what I told her. I said,
Just
then
make
you
you
start
feel
acting
at home.
like us.
Absolutely. This is a fun group, no doubt.
well, this is the funniest one of them.
She is that. She is. And I know that she works very, very hard for Lindley.
But
And
the
she does.
first time she came in my room, she told me she's going to look to see if it was clean. And someone else came in, and I don't know if they was doing something to me or just visiting with me. But I forgot all about her, and she went out. And in a little while, another employee come and said she had taken my scissors and my paring knife.
And she's never going to let me forget that,
And
okay?
another resident come and told me.
Right.
And so she came in the next morning, and I said, "You robbed me." She did. And that's not the end of her taking things that don't belong to her. She was in that watermelon eating contest.
She was that.
And they had prices of watermelons in front of each contestant.
Yes, ma'am.
And she'd gobble down 2 or 3, and she'd reach over and get one. And she did that twice to my knowing. I think 3 times.
Yes, that's right.
So you see, she's still at it.
Yes, ma'am, she is, isn't she? Yes, ma'am, she is.
It is such a pleasure to get to visit with Miss Peebles each and every day. I'm honored. I'm very honored to have her as a friend, and she's part of my family now.
Isn't that something?
She's just remarkable.
Just a little less than 100 years old, and bright and vibrant, and just a very pretty and a very nice young lady that we get to interview out here, and it's my pleasure to get to see you,
I
young
like
lady.
you and Ben and Sherry, so I'm inviting you to my 100th birthday party. I had my 90th one out at ASU,
Yes, ma'am.
and they reserved it for my 100th birthday.
Is that
We'll be
right?
I
there.
will be out there. And
We'll be
We'll
there.
be
You
there.
let us know when
We
it
will.
is.
I may not be there, but I will.
And I have one other little thing that I just was so amazed. Like I said, we get to visit every day, every morning.
Yeah.
And she told me, she said at the age of 63, she took a college course at ASU
Yeah.
in psychology. Is that
Well,
right?
it was a VOTEC school at
Right.
that time.
Yes, ma'am.
But you took a course in psychology.
I
Is
did.
that correct?
I got a 3 hours college
Credit.
Unbelievable.
I was 63 years old, and I made an A.
Is that
And
right?
my two sons said I made a better grade than they did when they was in college.
Well, I took psychology too, and I didn't make an A. And I was 20 years old and thought I was smart.
Well, at that time, I worked at Victor Middle, and part of the time, about 2 days a week, I'd work 11.5 hours, and the other days 10 hours. And you know, I'd get up at midnight every night, go to work at 3:30 them 2 days, and I'd study. Well, I was so old, I couldn't retain what I'd have to read it and reread, but I made a good grade.
That is
And at the
fantastic.
end of that semester, some of the others was talking about what they was going to take the next semester, and I said, well, I'm graduating.
You got your 3 hours, and let me say this. Whether you got a diploma or not, they need to give her a diploma.
That's right.
Give her an
They sure
honorary
do.
diploma.
They sure
When
do.
you have that 100th year birthday party
That's
out there, we'll
right.
see if we can
We'll
do
see-
that.
We'll see if
Since
we can
I've
pull
got
that off.
3 hours in psychology, you'll have to watch me because I'm a mind reader.
I understand.
I believe that.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
believe her.
It's my pleasure, Miss Peoples, to get to visit with you, and certainly my pleasure to get to interview you and talk to you here on Cable Channel 15 TV.
I'm glad to be here.
Sherry, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, good people at Lindley Health and Rehab Center. This is what it's all about right here, Miss Viola Peoples, and we will continue on with more of our show coming right up. With interest rates still near historic lows, now's a great time to purchase a new home or refinance your existing loan. Call or go see Kenny Thaxton at ENG Lending for an evaluation of your existing mortgage or for a pre-qualification on a new home purchase loan. ENG Lending is a division of the Bank of England in England, Arkansas, which was chartered in 1898. They offer a full range of today's mortgage products, such as USDA Rural Development, FHA, VA, and conventional financing. They offer 100% financing to qualified borrowers. ENG Lending offers great rates and unmatched customer service. Stop by today and see Kenny Thaxton with ENG Lending located in the Village Mall in Newport, or call him today at 870-495-3931. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 418481.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bud Black. Let's Talk Sports, a program presented by Kenny Thaxton and crew down at ENG, the mortgage folks. They're inside the Newport Village Mall. Give them a holler. They can do some business for you and help you out if you're looking for some money. Well, baseball season here in October, and all the regular seasons are completed, and the playoffs, as we film, are underway. It's a good time to look at some things in baseball, Major League Baseball. You know, I wonder, the Cardinals continue to win, and that's a lot of the reason they put 40,000 people in the seats every time that they play at home. Not everybody's that good at Miami. They can't come close to filling up a stadium. There are a lot of places like that in Major League Baseball, and probably because the game has become boring. I know if you love great defense and pitching, I mean, the Cardinals continue to win this year based on pitching, because the hitting certainly wasn't there, and there wasn't much timely hitting at all. But great pitching, especially starting pitching, won them a division championship. So 1-0, pretty exciting games. 4-0, 2-0. They had 23 shutouts. The Cardinals did. Now that is an amazing thing. It kind of goes back to the days of Gibson and Koufax and Drysdale and those folks. You remember after the great years in '67 and '68, they lowered the mound because the pitchers were dominating the game. And there wasn't much excitement. There weren't many runs scored. So I kind of wonder what's next now. What are they going to do after to put some offense back into the game? Why do they need offense? Because people want action. That's why in football, whether it's high school football, college football, the pros, the spread offenses now, people are putting points all over the place. It's not unusual now to go to a college or high school football game and end up 56-49. In the old days, that was some rarity, let me tell you. You'll never again, I don't believe, see a 7-0 game or a 6-3 game in football at any level. It just doesn't happen. And that's why football remains the #1 sport, although baseball is supposed to be America's pastime. Baseball just has become a boring game. Now, here's a contradiction. they have added, the instant replay thing to where they look and see if they made the right call or not. That slows the game down. It's boring and long already, but that slows it down. But it does get the call right in most of the time. And I think there are a couple of times when that would have been so beneficial. 1985 World Series. By the way, Kansas City back in the playoffs this year. Congratulations to them. First time since '85 when they were handed the World Series by umpire Don Dinkinger, who blew that call with Todd Laurel at first base, saying that he missed the bag, and all the replay showed the guy from Kansas City was out by a foot. Instead of winning that game, the Cardinals lost it, and then lost the next night also in a rout like 11-0. And a couple of years ago, when the kid pitches the perfect game, and umpire Jim Joyce missed the call, and of course apologized for it later, and said that he knew he missed it after he saw the replay of it. And so replay, I guess, gets it right, but it slows the game down. And there's parity in baseball. It just seems like, everybody in all the major sports want parity. They want everybody to be equal. So you'll have maybe one real good team in each division, one real bad team, and everybody else kind of falls in the middle. And like in the Cardinals division, up until the last week, basically, 3 or 4 teams challenging for a shot at the playoffs, including Cincinnati, which had a horrible second half. And the Cubs are going to be much, much better. You saw some of the young guys for the Cubs this year. They are going to be outstanding in the future. They're a pitcher or two away, and pitching does win, but they're going to have an outstanding offense when they get everybody up there. They've got some kids coming. You saw just a couple of them this year, but a couple of others that are better than what they brought up at the end of the season. They're going to have an offensive juggernaut playing in the friendly confines at Wrigley Field. But anyway, it's baseball. I just had some random thoughts on it. Congratulations to the Cardinals for winning another flag, a division championship. I don't know if they were that good or everybody else just stumbled along the way. But a winner is a winner, and you should never care how you got there. And St. Louis certainly didn't back in, but they had to win some down the stretch and had a pretty good September to win the division championship. All right, I want you to have a good remainder of the day watching our program here on Cable 15 and our webcast and other outlets that we have like Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. I'm Bud Black on Sports.
Tara Salinas joins us in a little different scenery at Merchants and Planners Bank. We're in downtown Newport, Arkansas still. And Tara, Merchants and Planners Bank continues to be the leader in the banking industry and other things. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on down at Merchants and Planners Bank.
I'll be glad to. We're happy to see fall come to town.
Yeah.
We're excited about football season. Recently we went out to the game and took our grill out and grilled hot dogs. I want to thank everyone for stopping by and having a hot dog. It was fun. Yeah. Our folks love getting out there in the community and seeing our friends and neighbors. So we've got a seminar coming up soon. October is generally the time that people start thinking about their Medicare and Medicaid programs. Absolutely. And reevaluating or entering into those. Caroline Jones from our insurance, M&P Insurance and Investment Services, she will be hosting just a little meet and greet. It's not so much a seminar, but she's going to be out at the Tuckerman Senior Citizen Center on Wednesday, October the 1st, around 11 o'clock. I know people normally go out there and eat lunch. I think they've got a good lunch program for the folks out there. And so she'll just be out there. If you have any questions about your Medicare supplement or Medicare prescription cards, she'll be there to answer your questions and help you with that. Okay. So we've got that coming up. Wanted to talk a little bit about something that's been in the news and people probably are aware of. If it's affected them, they're, I'm sure, aware of it. But, the scammers,
Absolutely.
My least favorite people on the planet.
It happens.
There was a big breach at Home Depot nationwide, and they got lots of card numbers. We here, I think, had over 400 customers whose cards were compromised. Okay. And so if you were one of the affected customers, you should have already received your letter. If not, you will receive it very soon because we did send them out the minute we were alerted from our card provider. to tell you that it was one of the ones that was compromised, to tell you to please come in and see us and get a new one.
Okay.
If we haven't heard back from you within 2 weeks of the letter going out, we're going to put a block on your card.
Right.
And I know that's inconvenient if you're
But it's
trying
safe.
to use
It is
but
safe.
we would rather block it and have you come up here and get you a new one, as to have somebody else out there using that card number, racking up a total. So, like I said, even if you are concerned because you were shopping at Home Depot during the time of the breach, and you may have not received a letter, we've had several folks come up here and say, you know what, just to be proactive, I want to cancel this one and get another one.
Sure.
Fine with that.
Absolutely.
Get it free of charge. We've actually got several new images from our instant issue personalization cards. We
love those.
Yes, we have more wildlife. We've got fish. We've got
duck, deer.
well, yes,
Yeah, maybe.
yes. Now the deer is questionable.
Okay.
I called it a deer. Somebody else said it was an elk.
Okay.
We've had a little friendly debate on what's a deer and what's an elk.
What animals you do have on there, huh?
They're very nice looking animals with horns.
Absolutely.
It's a nice
Looks
nature
similar to a
scene.
deer or an antelope.
Your take on it, whatever. If you like it, get it. Don't worry about what we call it.
That's right.
But yeah, we've got several new choices there, so that'll at least make it a little bit more pleasant experience. And
Sure.
we're able now to print those out on site, and so you come in, pick it out, and you walk away with it. You're not waiting
Right.
for it to come to you in the mail. Like with a lot of other financial institutions. It's
Here's the
instant.
good thing. Once these cards get compromised, and I mean, it also has to be, Home Depot has to be involved, as such. But when you have the things in place that alert the bank, it's just a big plus that we as customers can be alerted very, very quickly to know that there are precautions in place to let us know that something has gone wrong, and we can correct those problems for you. And that's just another service of our downtown folks, or our hometown folks at Merchants and Planters Bank.
Right, and we, I would encourage everyone, if you aren't set up to do online banking, it's such a service to the customer, because you can go in there anytime, day or night, and it's very current. Most of the time, if you go to Walmart or wherever and swipe your card, you're going to see that transaction pop up on your online account within minutes.
Yes, absolutely.
Sometimes it takes a matter of 24 hours, but most of it is very real time. And so it's easy to pop in there and look at something, and if there is an extraneous charge for somewhere that you have never been, you're going to be able to spot that quickly if you're going online and checking it every day. And then there's also, once you get online, there's benefits to having alerts text to you.
Sure.
Like if your card's used without it being present, it'll text you and say, hey, your card was used and it didn't actually swipe, so are you okay with this? If your account balance falls below a certain amount. So if somebody's out there draining your account, you can get a text or an email alert. So there's just, things that we have in place now that make it so much easier to stay on top of it. Because the quicker you find this and figure this out, we're working here to find it too, but the two of us together, the sooner we find it, the easier it is to rectify, and the easier it is on everybody, because believe me, we hate it just as much as the customer does.
Well, you talk about that, and I want to expand upon you talk about online banking. I mean, what technology that we have at our fingertips to be able to use a card to make purchases, number one, and then readily see those things in a running chart. Number two, keeping up with what you do, as opposed to writing a check. I write a few checks, not very, and I think checks obviously are going to become extinct sometime in the very near future. And I write just a few of them. But I think the technology that Merchants and Planters Bank has from their online banking is such a plus for the customers, just to keep up with where you are. And I love online banking, no doubt about it.
It is, and we've got, Tristan Rudd in our online banking department. He does a great job of, when calls come in, making sure that people are able to access their account, if they get logged out or if they forget their password. He is so great to, get you right back going, answer any of your questions. And, it's just that local, personalized service that, I think he goes above and beyond and helps people, and it's just a plus for us and for the customer too.
In banking, it's so nice to walk into a bank, to walk in a place of business, and you see the folks who live in your community, that go to school in your communities and are part of the communities, and that's what you get in Merchants Planters Bank. Local people making local decisions about your banking needs, and who else better to do it than our friends and neighbors at Merchants Planters Bank.
Our friends and neighbors. Elk, deer, birds, ducks, friends and neighbors.
Fish, bird. It's a fish, it's a bird. It doesn't matter. If you say here's a bird, is it a bird? Is it a duck? Is it an eagle? We've got birds on our cards.
Is it a dolphin? Is it a fish?
Yeah, true. No.
We're all part of this.
That is correct.
Working together.
If you need a new card, give us a call or come see us. We'll take care of it. Terry, good to see you, girl.
You too.
Let's continue on with more of our show. My good friend Tommy Bain at Farmers Tire Mart. We're in downtown Newport, Arkansas, and this is the place to be if you need a tire of any kind or you need service on your automobile. Brother Bain, how are you, my friend?
Great.
Everything's busy at Farmers Tire Mart.
Yes, sir.
You guys covered up?
Covered up.
What does that mean? Why are you covered up?
Because it's harvest time.
It is harvest time.
It's harvest time.
Yes, sir.
And people are moving around. And they move around, those old tires go bad, and then they come see me.
I guarantee you that. And you talk about harvest time, and really, you talk about tires, and then you talk about service on automobiles. There's really a couple of months out of the year when you're in the summertime and the fall, and summertime turns into fall, and the fall turns into winter, and you start talking about that about October.
Yeah.
And then in the springtime, when spring turns into summer, when it gets hot. When it gets cold or hot, that's the time when you got to work on your automobile. From antifreeze checkups, it's time to bring your cars in to get them serviced.
All those fluids need attention at differing times of the year, but yes, at the break of the season, it's an excellent idea. If you're not having any problem with it, that don't mean you're not going to.
Right.
And so at the break in the season, it's an excellent time that should be a reminder.
Absolutely, should be.
To get those things checked. And we do that. We do a lot of it. We have customers that when the seasons start changing, they come in and say, get me ready.
Get ready to go?
That's
ready.
Right. Get me ready.
Sometimes it's a different ready.
That's right.
Sometimes checking antifreeze this time of year, I think, is important. I mean, you certainly don't want to be left out in the cold and it not have any antifreeze in it.
Well, that's absolutely true. But antifreeze, as we call it, it's an engine coolant.
Sure, coolant.
Mixture that serves as an antifreeze.
Right.
To keep that engine from freezing up in sub-zero weather. But it's a coolant for the summertime as well.
Absolutely.
To help keep that engine cool.
Yes, sir.
So yes, it's important at break of every season to get that stuff checked.
Oil changes. I mean, it's a staple. If your automobile is going to run for a long, long time, you need to service that engine.
Absolutely, and a lot of people don't realize it, but if a car sits a lot, just sits there and don't even run.
Yeah, with the engine, when the oil doesn't go through.
That engine will sweat inside,
right.
And get water build up and it settles in the oil pan.
Right.
So that needs to come out. So even if it don't put 3,000 miles on it, the oil still needs to be changed because of that condensation that builds up in the crankcase.
Let's talk a little bit about, Tommy, you guys are in the tire business. You make money by selling tires, servicing tires, getting in the car business. But I do know this, you guys do such a fantastic job of doing, pre-trouble maintenance. Pre-trouble. It's before you get in trouble. And that's the things that you guys do so well, is taking care of an automobile before it has a problem.
Preventative maintenance. A lot of folks say, well, that costs too much to do that. The cost is not as great as it would be if you waited until you had problems.
It's minimal.
It's minimal.
It's minimal.
And, so preventative maintenance is the old guy told me one time, he said, son, that's a smart idea.
Well, it is a very smart idea to get it in here and let you guys check it out and see what it may or may not need. And we don't try to sell anybody anything that they don't need. It's just here it is. You bring it in. We'll tell you what this automobile needs as far as preventative maintenance, as you say, to hope to get the longest life out of an automobile that we can. I mean, these things are expensive. Boy, these automobiles are expensive, and you got to take care of them.
They are expensive, and that makes the preventative maintenance seem less and less.
Absolutely.
Because we go pay $40,000 or $40,000 plus for a vehicle, you want to take care of it.
Yes, sir, you do.
You want to. So, yeah, it's preventative maintenance is a good idea, smart idea.
Smart idea.
And preventative maintenance on the engine, on the fluids, the belts and the hoses.
Sure.
And you know, if you neglect the belts and the hoses and you get out on the interstate, I don't care if it's hot weather or cold weather, if they've been neglected, they'll break out on the road.
Yeah, you're gonna have some problems.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
And there you are.
You bet. So smart idea, as we say, to get it checked.
Smart idea.
We'll check it all at Farmer's Tire Mart. If tires of whatever kind that you need, if we don't have your tire size or the particular one, the size of tire that you want in stock, we can have it for you here in a matter of a day or so.
We have a real good customer that we take care of his service work on his vehicles, and he was in the other day, and he had just a small leak in his radiator. The vehicle had some 160,000 miles on it, but the vehicle's in good shape.
Sure.
But he had a leak in his radiator, and he said, "Well, is it bad?" No, not bad yet, but it is leaking.
That's right.
And you going on a trip, coming fall, you going hunting, you going down the road, it can get bad in a hurry.
Smart idea to get fixed.
Smart idea, fix it now before the trouble comes along.
Brother Tommy Bain, it's always a pleasure to get down and come down and visit with you. And I do all my tire business, automobile business here, and they're good people. Not only they're good to work on your cars, they're good Christian folks to do a little business with Tommy Bain at Farmer's Tire Mart. Where?
The rubber meets the road.
Tommy Bain, Farmer's Tire Mart. At UACCB, the University of Arkansas Community College in Batesville, Dr. Tamara Griffin joins us again here on our program. She's been on before. And first of all, welcome, girl.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about that long, stretched out name that you have, your title here at the college.
I know. If they don't want to give you money, they just give you a title.
That's right. I guarantee you.
Yeah. So I'm the division chair for business, technology, and public service.
That is it sounds like a wealth of responsibility that you have. And we want to use our time today to talk about some things when we do with talking about cyber security. And you go, well, that's kind of neat. And we need to talk about cyber security. It never fails that there's something in the news almost every day in a breakdown along the way. Tell us about what you got here.
And so what we're going to do in our Associate of Applied Science 2-year degree,
or
it may take you a little longer to finish than 2 years, but that's what we'd like to do.
Sure.
We have embedded it into our Computer Information Systems degree. And so we have some separate courses like Computer Security is its own, standalone. Some people reference that as Information Assurance in the field. And then also we have ethical hacking.
Okay.
I know that's kind of an oxymoron.
It sounds like it.
It is. And also we have computer forensics. That's a special topics course that we're doing. And then we're actually putting it inside Intro to Computers. There's a section on cyber. And then, for example, I teach Intro to Programming. So it's basic code. We use Java. But we're embedding learning how to do safe, secure coding, because how programmers code does allow people in. So it's important that they learn.
Dr. Griffin, I really think as a person who started late, I've never had a computer class, and I taught myself how to use a computer. I just got on there, and I don't know any of the ins and outs, but I mean I'm somewhat navigational through a computer system. But first of all, the systems in themselves, you have to know how to use them, but what you guys do with these programs and trying to add this into curriculum is tell us not only how to use, but how to use it correctly.
Right.
How to use it safely, how to use it securely.
And not to leave any holes so that a hacker could get inside and change, amounts for a bank or for whoever they're working for. And so we're working on that.
Y'all have got a couple of things that are coming up here. One of them, a symposium that's going to happen in early October. Tell us a little bit about that.
On October 7th, we have Mr. Casey O'Brien coming, and let me get his title correctly. He's the Director and Principal Investigator of the National Cyber Watch Center.
He's got one of those long titles
yeah, he
too,
does.
doesn't he?
And I couldn't memorize it. And so he'll be here next week, October 7th, from 1 to 4. He's going to talk, and then we're going to break up into sessions. We have 2 instructors on campus that have what we call they've sat for the certification of a CISSP. I know you're going to ask me what that means.
What that is.
So guess what? I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget. And it's a Certified Information System Security Professional. Wow. It's one of the top cybersecurity certifications that you can achieve.
Right.
There may be one higher than that, but it's really out there. But we have 2 instructors that have sat for that certification and have it.
I saw something on TV, and it's been a year or so ago, not to relate that to this particular group or what, but I did see something where a guy who had been a hacker, professional hacker, he got in trouble. And they said, well, if you'll help us here, tell us how you do that, you're going to be a lot better with us. And I'm talking about the government told him that.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I watched this program, and it was amazing how much information that he could give to the security people. Say, look, here's how you get in. Here's what we do. I mean, and some of it was real simple. Some of it was real complicated. So I think those curriculum, the courses there's a lot of information that we need to learn, correct?
Right. And both of these instructors, Joe Stevens and Matt Critcher, both have sat for this certification, both understand how a hacker's mind works, and so they can really share with the students a lot of information.
And hackers, they can get all your information. And tell us some of the things they get that they could use. What information are they looking for?
Well, they're just looking for anything they can get, because once they get just a part of your information, then they can just go from there on the net and just, of course they want your social security number, but, they can start with just addresses and your last name, and then they just start and they go.
And then all of a sudden you don't notice that $10 or $20 withdrawal every month that's out of your account.
And probably the easiest thing is just watching, where you use your credit cards or where you use your debit cards in a safe manner. Oh, and your passwords. Passwords is one of the easiest ways that hackers can get in.
Are we taught, or I've been told that, or I've been taught this way, to have an array, a different password for each thing. And I know when I first started, I had the same one for everything. And sometimes said, no, you have this for too many passwords. You get something back. This, or don't use the password if your email address is your password, and you had to put the other one down there. And it's, don't use the same name.
Right.
So pretty important on those.
Yes, and don't use your last name, and don't use your children's name for your passwords. Sure. Yes, because that's what they're going to try first.
And birthdays.
Birthdays.
Don't use birthdays. Yes. Why would you give somebody your birthday? That's probably his birthday right there. Hey, I got information on it.
Yeah, just knowing knowing a person, you can pick up a lot of stuff about them.
Absolutely.
And guess at their passwords. So.
You have something coming up later on.
Yes.
That's a big deal. Tell us about something.
We're really excited. We tried it this last summer for the first time.
Okay.
It is a cybersecurity camp, but it is for 8th graders.
Right.
Either 8th graders that have just graduated, going into the 9th grade, or they're getting ready to go in the 8th grade. We'll take both groups. And we spent a day with them. It starts at 8:30 and goes to noon. It's free.
Right.
And it is in June. It's June 10th this year. And it just allows them, we had a great time. We had 11 for our first try.
Good.
We thought that was really exciting.
Absolutely.
And they got to spend some time just tearing apart a PC and the insides of it. And then we took with tablets and walked around, and were able to see all the wireless, unsecure wireless devices that were around. And it was really fun watching them because they were counting. Oh, I have 12, I have 16.
That's right. That's right.
And they were very good at it. So, and these are 8th graders, and Then also, I took them and they learned how to program.
Right.
Just in about 30, 40 minutes, they were just going to town.
Is that right?
Oh, it's amazing how fast they can pick it up. And so we did that too. So we just had a great time with them, and we want to do that again.
Okay.
We really feel like all the studies show that 8th graders are the key, because that's when they're deciding what they're going to do for the future.
Absolutely.
And we were really proud of the 11. We had 3 females. It seems to be a male-dominated profession. We'd like to see more females in it. And so we're going to try and start with the 8th graders and see if we can change their minds about the future.
You know, when you talk about technology, and you mentioned wireless, and my first recollection of something that was wireless, and then we didn't call it wireless at the time, was it amazed me when my oldest brother, Bud, worked at the radio station, and I could drive by the radio station. He would be sitting in there, and he would, of course, back then it was live radio.
Yeah.
And he would be talking on the radio, and then I did not have a wire that went to my car, you know, as I was driving down, and I could hear him, and I thought, that's pretty neat. That's pretty, you know, because I was younger. I'm a lot younger than that old man, but anyway, I just thought, and that's the first that I remember of wireless, but boy, wireless technology is just super.
Isn't it? And also you have to make sure it's secure.
Absolutely.
Because it's definitely a way you can get in. So.
Cyber security is something that needs to be taught. It needs to be taught at all levels, no doubt.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. You got to start, because usually the user is the problem.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. Dr. Griffin, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Wonderful information, and know your health's doing great. You said you're doing, that's fantastic.
Yes,
You said nice set of hair.
Yeah,
nice head of
hair's
hair.
growing back.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, and I know it was a tough battle, and you keep battling there, girl.
Yeah, I will.
Dr. Tamara Griffin, and I will not tell you her title. I will take, she is the chair of that particular several groups of people that she's in charge of right here at UACCB. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Let's continue on with more of the show. Miss Karen Hunt joins us at Jackson's Funeral Home, and it's always a pleasure to get to come down and visit and talk about some of the things that are near and dear to your heart. And first of all, tell me a little bit, and I didn't even say we were going to talk about this. How long have you been here?
A little over 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're kind of like a staple, part of the family.
I am.
Yeah, I know you do a marvelous job because Jan Maris tells me you do.
Good.
And she wouldn't have anybody around if they weren't very good. She always hires the best.
I agree.
I knew you would.
I agree.
Tell us a little bit about Jackson Funeral Home. We want to hit on 2 or 3 different things today, and one of the things we want to talk about is the website that we have, which is absolutely phenomenal, wealth of information on there. Talk a little bit about it.
Well, we have a really good website. Once you get into our website, you can look at several different things. You can view the current obituaries. You can go back through, we do archive all of the obituaries, so you can go back, put in a name. If it's a service we've had since the onset of the website, it will be there. We try to keep the website as updated as possible. As soon as we get service and obituary information, it's posted, and you can go there and check service information. You can read obituaries. You can leave condolences.
Right.
You can make donations to certain organizations, national organizations. You can also read about the merchandise that we have and the different services we offer, and you can learn about things like prearrangement as well.
What is what's the actual address? Jackson's?
It's www.jacksonsfh.com.
JacksonFuneralHome.com. A ton of information there, and there's no doubt about it. And we want to hit on a couple other things, and sometimes we talk about monuments, which part of the process of we'll talk about prearrangement in a minute, but part of that process is picking out monuments, and you can do that right here.
You can do that. Now that we don't have a company located right here in Newport, we thought it was important to offer people the opportunity to purchase monuments without having to go and look and this and that. So we do work with a company called Southern Monuments, and we can design and sell a monument through the funeral home here. The company we work with is very time efficient. Of course, there are certain granites that are imported, and anytime you deal with customs, you run into some time with that. But prior to cutting the monument, everyone is given a proof. You see exactly how the layout's going to look, so you know exactly what you're going to get. We've had really good luck with them, and I think it's a really good thing. And I wouldn't mind having one up so I could go. I always say, if you can go and look at it, you're in pretty good shape.
I guarantee you,
Yeah.
you're in great shape. And even if there's some delay, because I mean, the monument is something that doesn't have to be set the day of the burial. I mean,
No.
that could be a month later, and some people have waited a long time before they get, the right monument or get in their mind and going through the grieving process of just exactly what they want. Some
Right.
people do, exactly as you say, buy them before the funerals come,
Right.
and they know where they're going to be. They have their plots and get their monuments, and that's pretty neat stuff.
It's a good way to mark your plot.
Yes, it is.
And to have one less thing to worry about at the time.
Yeah, and then that's a great segue into pre-arrangement and talking about taking care of the things that you have to worry about when those things happen. But with pre-arrangement, that takes a lot of this pressure
Yes,
off your
it does.
mind. Talk a little bit about pre-arrangement.
Well, pre-arrangement is something that's really easy to do. It's good to do for your family, both financially and emotionally. It takes the burden from them, as I said, both financially and some of the emotional impact. You come in, or I come to you, and you select the type of service and merchandise that you want.
Okay.
I write down any special requests that you have, and people have all kinds of special requests. And you can pay it out by the month with no interest.
Right.
Can't beat that. Or you can pay all at once, and it locks your service and merchandise prices in at today's price.
Right.
We all know that the interest rates that are paid on your money right now are a lot less than the
Sure.
rate of inflation.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of a win-win situation. I would recommend it to anyone.
So in other words, you pay for your funeral now, and your funeral is 25 years from now, and regardless of what the cost of that funeral is in 25 years, you have a funeral paid for.
That's right.
That's good stuff.
That's exactly right.
That's good stuff. A lot of peace of mind when you have pre-arrangements, because there's so many details that you have to cover when you're planning for a funeral. And lots of times we're planning for funerals and we didn't know we had to plan for one.
That's right.
So much advantage of doing pre-arrangement.
It really is, because there are a lot of things to be done that until you have to do it, you have no idea that you're going to need to make these decisions.
If you've never done one,
If
you
you've
don't
never
know.
done
Yeah.
it, you have
Yeah.
no idea the amount of information that is needed, the amount of people who are involved, and answers that have to be given, decisions that have to be made at a pretty quick pace.
Well, I do know this. I know that you've been doing it quite well for 12 years, and Jackson's Funeral Home has been doing it quite well for many
more.
many years.
Yes.
And it's just always a pleasure to get to come down and visit with you and,
Thank you.
and talk about what you bring to the business and what the business brings to the community, which is quite a lot.
Yes.
Quite a lot. Thank you, Miss Karen.
Thank you.
We're at Jackson's Funeral Home. We're at the 1900 block of Malcolm Avenue. If you need some information on what we talked about today, more information on the website or the monuments, or certainly about pre-arrangements, give us a call or come by. And like Karen said, she'll come to your place and visit if you need to talk about any of these things. So let's continue on with more of the Business Spotlight. In honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we're at Harris Hospital visiting with the folks that help you get a diagnosis on whether or not you might need some treatment for breast cancer. And first of all, let me let these ladies introduce themselves. And you are?
I'm Linda Johnson, and I've worked here at Harris for about 10 years. And I've been working in the mammography program for about 8 years. So really pleased with it. I like working in this department. It's fulfilling.
Absolutely it is. Shauna?
I'm Shauna Worthington, been here about 12 years, and I also work in the radiology department, and I do MRIs and mammograms as well.
Well, and you guys have been honored as a Harris Hospital Healthcare Hero, and that's a great honor that Harris Hospital just instituted a program several months ago of honoring folks who are very, very good at what they do with within the Harris Hospital guidelines, and there's no doubt, according to those folks that I know, you guys are super at what you do. Let's talk a little bit about breast cancer awareness and prevention of breast cancer. Give us some information, and whichever one want to go first, go ahead.
Okay, well, I like to tell all my patients that the main thing is with the mammograms yearly is that when you actually have something that you feel in your breast and you come in, it could be there 8 to 10 years. And so the reason to get the mammogram every year at age 40 is because we can detect something going on in your breast 8 to 10 years before it actually is a problem. So,
Linda, talk a little bit about some of the statistics that we have when we talk about breast cancer.
Well, the American Cancer Society for 2014 estimates that about 232,000 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer, and about 40,000 of those women will die from breast cancer.
Wow. I know this, that you folks here at Harris Hospital are no doubt a leader. Somebody doesn't need to suspect that they have breast cancer. Tell us about the process. I mean, when do they really need to start, and how often do they need to come, and why do they need to come?
Okay, well, at about age 20, you need to start going to your doctor for the womanly visits and having a clinical breast exam, and that is just basically done from your doctor. And that's about every 3 years, and your doctor actually shows you exactly how to do your breast exam, so you kind of know if any changes do occur. You kind of know that if you're doing a clinical breast exam every about 3 years. And about age 40, you need to start coming in for a yearly mammogram. Of course, if you have a strong family history or anybody in your family of history of breast cancer, they usually have you start coming in about 35, kind of depending on your family history, because that's a very strong gene in your family.
And y'all talked about coming up sometime this month. We have something special going on that we're attending, and what is that?
On Saturday, we're going to Little Rock, a group of us in the radiology department, to walk in the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure.
Boy, it's a fantastic effort. But, there's literally thousands of people that do that. And let's talk just a little bit more about, we are in the mammo room, and we talk about differences of how the actual test works, and there are some men that get them done. And just kind of give us a quick overview, how long it takes, and how painful it is, or because you say it could be more painful for some than others.
Right. It takes about probably 10 to 15 minutes. We do 2 pictures on each side. Actually, I have women come in that it's their first mammogram and they're scared to death, about in tears. And I tell them that I promise I won't make them cry, and it's not going to be that bad. And every new patient that I have had said that is nothing like I thought. It is uncomfortable, very little pain, but it's really not, I would consider, very painful at all.
Well, I think when you're really checking to see if you have something that may be life-threatening, a little pain is probably okay. Linda, let me ask you this. Tell me about your experience here at Harris Hospital, and what have you enjoyed most? What do you like most about working here at Harris Hospital?
Well, I like the size of the hospital.
Yeah.
And because of the closeness that you have with all the employees, especially in our department, we're just like a family. And everybody in all the other departments too, you just get to be real close with everybody and
enjoying the people. Mm-hmm. Shauna, what about you? What do you enjoy about the job?
Well, I've been here 12 years, and I grew up in Newport, went to high school here, always kind of wanted to give back locally.
Sure.
And so Harris is just like home to me. So know everybody usually, a lot of my patients, and I just love and just try to give all my patients, the best experience possible.
If someone is watching the program, and here it is in October, and of course Breast Cancer Awareness Month, as we mentioned, how do we go about getting the test done? Who do we call? How do we do it?
Actually, a mammogram is something you don't actually have to have a doctor order the test for you. You can just call our scheduling department, and that's 870-512-3042. And talk to our scheduler, and you just just let her know that you want to have a mammogram done, and she gets you on the schedule. We can work you in that day usually.
I know that you girls, your heart is very much in what y'all do right here, and you're taking care of patients, and that's what we do at Harris Hospital. Harris Hospital's, our hospital of choice, and we certainly, us old Newport folks enjoy being here, and it's great to have a hospital, an emergency room, and a radiology department that is absolutely second to none. It's because of folks like y'all.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for joining us here on the Business Spotlight. It's always more than a pleasure to get into the office of Dr. Don Pate to visit with him about anything he wants to talk about. Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend.
Dr. Pate, are you doing all right, my friend? Everything good?
That starts me into my first story.
Good, okay? Let's hear it. Let's hear it, my friend.
All right, so I walk in today. Old payroll that's sponsoring all this stuff, she's sending out something that BB says we can all wear pink on Friday. My girls are up there and they're scared. They're supposed to be working their butts off, right? They ain't working their butts off. They're up there running over shopping lists. What are y'all doing? We're going to win the pink contest for the office doors. we're going to win the contest. We've never even been in a contest. He said, we're going to win this one. I said, why are we going to win it? Because you're going to buy everything we want you to buy and put on that door.
We're going to support.
We're going to support. And I'm thinking, well, you know, I think I'm just going to talk about breast awareness because it's going to financially break me.
That's right. Absolutely.
So here's the story. I'm as good as anybody in Northeast Arkansas on breast awareness. I know breast. Now, I totally disagree with some of these things. If they think these old girls over 45 can go years without, and by the way, breast cancer is near and dear to your heart,
absolutely.
too.
Absolutely.
They think these old girls can go a long time without getting mammals. I think that's BS. That's me shooting bull, and that ain't the correct bull. Right. You fall for that, don't fall for that BS. Yes. If you have issues or you're concerned, then at least you come to me. We're going to get mammos, and we're going to do some exams, and we're going to track this stuff every year. We ain't going to fall into this stuff where a group of people say, you might not need to wait 5-6 years. You're dead by then, yes, or it's already the horse out of the barn, so to speak, you know. So I am a major proponent of annual mammograms. I like O'Shohan. He does a good job of reading them. We have a good program. One of my girls up front, while she's buying all this stuff, says, well, I'm buying it because you're really good at breast. We have a big breast press. And I think, I don't care about that. How much it's going to cost me still, woman. But we're really good at breast. Okay, so the take home for all these girls, and I bet this is going to come out about mid-October. Take home is, if you are 45 or 50 and you're concerned in the least, you come see me. If you're not concerned, at least you still come see me. Right. We're going to get some memos, we're going to do some exams, and we're going to have some reassurance here. Okay.
Reassurance is a key word, and you use that right there. And I think a lot, men and women. Men and women. And I know statistically a lot more women than men, but the women are looking for, as well as the men, some reassurance that I'm okay.
That's what I'm here to give them.
That's what you give. You give them the, you're okay.
That's right. And you know, for every year to get the I'm okay, ain't bad. I don't care if it costs you $50 or $100.
Right. Yeah, $200 or whatever.
You know, you're okay. You know, they'll try it off. They'll be as happy as they can be.
Absolutely.
That's money well spent.
Absolutely it is.
All right, let's go two other things real quick. Like November, not to let men off the hook, is this old prostate awareness month in November. I don't do digital rectal exams except when I do their colonoscopy. But I still believe you still need to get that old PSA. Now, some people are saying, you don't need to do that as much as we say. These are if you have a child that's married, obviously then you got the other set of in-laws on the other side. So my father-in-law married to, his daughter's married to one of our sons. He just found out he's got prostate cancer, you know. And he calls me and we go through all the differentials and how we do this and how we do that. Now, we're not going to do prostate surgery here. We don't even have a urologist. But this Da Vinci thing, it's good. It's good for that. But, Lord, you don't know you have prostate cancer unless you go and get checked. Okay?
That's correct.
So, after Rebecca gets through with her month of October costuming for pink, then we're going to jump straight into urology November, okay?
Spend a little money for that.
We're going to spend some money. When you walk out after paying that $200 and you have a good bill of health, you're going to say, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm reassured.
Absolutely.
All right. Last thing, and I'll leave you alone.
Yes, sir.
You know how I love golf.
Yes,
and
sir.
you know my favorite commercial is where they say, these guys are good.
Yeah.
These guys are good. And then they'll show Mickelson. He hits the ball back over his head, and it lands on the green. And I thought, well, I wonder how many times they filmed that. But I'm not going to critique. I'm not going to critique. All right. So here about 2 weeks ago, we had a kind of little split. One of my hospitalists had to be gone and another one couldn't get there in time. So this management team here, they said, well, we'll just get old Pete to fill in. I'm thinking, okay.
I'm in, yeah.
I'm in. So I get there, and the more I do this job, the more I watch these guys on either end of me. These guys are good.
Yes,
so you tell those little people out there, and I'm going to tell those little people out there, our hospitalists are good. I'm happy about that. I'm happy about spending money to win this door prize. And I'm happy to see you, brother.
Good to see you, my friend. It's always a pleasure to get to come and visit. Great pleasure to be at St. Michael's Place, Pecan Street in Newport, and visiting with folks that are instrumental in good things that not only go on here, but go on throughout the community. And folks, if you don't know, let me introduce to you Miss Velma Bobo, a lady who is has her husband who is at the St. Michael's facility. And first of all, before we talk about St. Michael's, let's talk a little bit about Miss Bobo and tell us a little bit about you, where you were born, and kind of what happened the first few years of your life.
Okay, I was born in Oliphant, Arkansas, and we moved from Oliphant when I was about 5 years old. I grew up in that little country, and I went to high school some here in Newport. I didn't complete it, but I went to high school some here in Newport. I got married at an earlier age. You know, you just think nothing else is going on. You just got to get married.
You got to get married. That's the thing to do, isn't it? That's the thing to do.
I was married 2 years before I had any children, and so I'm the parent of, we are the parents of 10 children.
10 children.
And
everybody knows some of the Bobos. I mean, everybody in when you say Bobo, that name is just synonymous to Tuckerman and Newport and Jackson County. I mean, there are a few Bobos around that we all know.
Oh yes,
good family, good folks.
But anyhow, we lived a pretty good life.
Right, good deal.
And we raised the children and all finished high school except one child.
Okay.
About 6 finished college.
Wow.
I had 6 children that went into military. And they're scattered.
I bet they are. Yeah, they usually do.
They just different places. So we just, just common people and just love people.
Yes, ma'am.
I love everybody. I don't know anybody that I don't love. And it keeps me busy.
I bet it does.
In the community and in school and whatever.
Well, what all do you do? Now, we were talking, and I know that you do a lot of volunteer work, and you're talking about in the community and at the school. To kind of give me an example of what you might do when you do your volunteer work.
Okay, what I do for volunteering, I help the children in the school.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
And last year, I had been working with the 2nd grade and 3rd grade children. But last year, the lady over these 3 and 4-year-old, she saw something in me. She wanted me down with those babies.
Okay.
So I worked there with those babies and enjoyed every moment. It gave me something to do, to get up and be with those babies. And they love me, and I love them.
I bet. Well, if you've raised 10 of your own, and then when they grow up and move on and do some of the great things that they have done, then it gives you something, a peace of mind to go in and watch children and help children and see how they respond to your kindness and your love. And you're doing a lot of good volunteer work, it sounds like.
Yeah, and I do some volunteer work at the assisted living in Tuckerman.
Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh.
I don't know if you would call this volunteer visiting people in the community, and if they need any aid or any something, I help out there.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know what all I.
You do a lot, I know. You do a lot.
And I love to come here, and if I see some need that somebody need, even assisting somebody going down the hall and they are tired.
Yes, ma'am.
Assist them in taking them to the room, or help putting the bib over those just before dinner. Assist those that are having problem eating or something. I love to do that. I just love to see everybody happy.
And you come to visit Mr. Bobo, who is at the facility here at St. Michael's and has been for several years, and spend some time with him. And then while you're here and visiting, and you do just that, whether you call it volunteer work, I like to call it service. You give a service to those people that you're giving back to the community, to a community that you love dearly. You get so much satisfaction. And I know that the folks at St. Michael's Place, love having you come and do your volunteer work here and your service work then, because they brag about you all the time. And we've been trying to get you on for an interview, and we finally got it all done. And I know it's important to you.
It is very, very important. And if I can help any way at all, you know, I would be happy to do that, you know. Really, they're doing a great job with my husband. They're doing, you know, he's at a stage where, you know, you probably can't understand what he says, but,
Yes, ma'am.
but I let him know that I'm here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We have been married 65 years.
Wow.
And so.
Wow. 65 years.
That's right.
You did get married real young, didn't you? 65. Well, congratulations on that length of time. And again, on behalf of St. Michael's Place, I know they appreciate you so much for the service that you give to these folks out here, because you're not only giving to St. Michael's, you're giving to the residents, and that means so much to these residents and their families to know that they're going to be taken care of when they come to this facility. And then there's going to be so many volunteers like you who come and give the little extra kindness. And Miss Bubba, we want to thank you so much for taking time to visit with us. Anything else you need to tell us today? Anything that you need to say? Do you need to say anything about me and my brothers, or are you good to say?
Well, it's I don't know if his name was David. You know, he was heavy set.
I'm David, and Bud's the oldest. He's the oldest, and he was the radio guy for a long time.
Radio,
He was
okay.
radio guy and TV guy for a long time.
Okay, well, he's the radio guy.
He's the radio guy, that's right.
and that's
we talked about our family before we got on the air right here.
Okay.
And, of course, the story of my life is that, are you Bud? No, I'm not. Well, then who are you?
Yes.
Well, I'm David. I'm just one of them. But
well, I just want you to know that I am from a big family.
Yes, ma'am.
My dad lived to be 105, and my mother was 98.
Wow.
And they taught us to love everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know anybody that I don't love. They opened we had a table longer than this table. It probably, I don't know, probably was a maid table, I don't know. We didn't have a lot of chairs and things. They had benches, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
And anybody that was hungry, you was welcome to come and sit down and have
a chance to
eat. And our parents taught us to love everybody. And so I guess it just blended in me to love everybody. I don't know anybody that
Right,
I don't,
absolutely.
You know.
Well, you keep on giving. You just keep on giving. And the world would be a better place if there were a few more people like Velma Bobo in it, I can promise you that. Thank you so much for visiting with us.
Thank you so much.
Velma Bobo at St. Michael's Place, and this lady is a treasure not only in Jackson County, but throughout the state of Arkansas and throughout mankind. White River Area Agency on Aging in Batesville. This is Miss Peggy Pierce, who you know, and Mr. Ted Hall, and we're visiting and love to come up on the hill and talk about what's going on at WRAAA. And Mr. Ted, big 35-year celebration is over as such, the celebrating part, but we're into year 36, and we're looking forward to another 35.
Absolutely, and we just finished visiting all of our counties and had a celebration in each one of our county offices, and we had just a great success with that, because we had people from the community, our county judges, our sheriffs, but just the people in the community that would come and help us celebrate this great celebration. And also to say that we've been in 35 years, we've helped a lot of people.
You bet.
In that period of time. And really, that's what we do. We keep saying that when we come on the air here, but that's really
what we do.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
And of course, we've got Peggy with us today.
Right.
And you know, Miss Peggy, you know, I've been here since January, and if I need to know something, I call Miss Peggy.
Well, I'm the same way.
But anyway, there's something that we've got coming up, and Peggy's going to talk about this, but this deals with the Part D of Medicare supplement programs that our people from this area may need to know about. And It's information that we're going to have certain places people can go, and we'll help them with that. And let's let Peggy talk about that.
Miss Peggy, just it's your microphone. Tell us what we've got going on.
Okay. Well, we just want to use this opportunity to make people aware that the Medicare Part D open enrollment is coming up and the time runs between October 15th and December 7th. This is the time every year that people have an opportunity, if their medications have changed during the year, they want to look at the options that are available. If they want to make a change, they need to do it during that time period. So, you know, one of the big things he's talking about, we do a lot of services. One thing is just helping people with information.
Sure.
And that's what we do during this time. We will have what we call a Part D open enrollment event in each of our 10 counties.
Right.
These will be advertised on our webpage, in our newspapers. We will also take people by appointment in our offices. They can call the care manager in their county and tell them that they need to come in and look at their options, and she will set up an appointment time. They need to bring their Medicare card, the prescriptions that they take on a regular basis. Just bring the bottle. That's the easiest way. And they will look up those medications and show them the cost under the different plans that are available, and then we give them the information and they make the educated choice about what they want to do. If they're happy with their plan, they don't have to do anything.
David, you know, a lot of times we get all this information, and it just about blows people's mind.
Right.
And I think this is something what Peggy's talking about. We kind of help them filter through that and kind of break it down so they can see exactly what, because, you know, let's face it, we got a lot of paperwork.
So much paperwork to do, yes.
And so, but if you know what you're doing and you know what's there, then you can really break it down for people so they can understand it.
Anytime you're filling out a form, and regardless of what age we are, how young we are, it can be very complicated sometimes. And I get to think about going to a doctor's office and some of the questions that you have to answer. I mean, but you guys have to you need the information, not only you're providing them with information, they're providing you with information, and then they, as you say, make that intelligent decision.
Right, and all our care managers get training every year to get the updates on Medicare. So, like Ted said, you know, Medicare's not as simple as it used to be.
Right.
There's a lot of choices, but choices are good. So if you've got these care managers just to help you understand, you know, there's several companies selling the Part D plans. Some of them have a deductible, some of them don't. The cost on the premiums is different. So if you just got somebody to kind of help you weed through the information, then you can kind of figure out, you know, whether you want to make a change or if you're happy with what you've got.
Right. Well, you mentioned a website, and boy, I mean, electronically, and websites are so important. Just tell us a little bit about the website and how people can navigate through there.
Well, the one we use is the www.medicare.gov. If
Okay.
you're computer savvy, you can do it yourself.
Right.
If you're not used to using the computer, our care managers can help you. But what you do, you go on to the little sheet that lets you compare prescription drug plans.
Okay.
And there's a place where you go to enter your prescription drugs. It'll pull up the cost under each plan so that you can see what your medicines are going to cost you each month, and you can see what your premium's going to be,
right.
whether you have a deductible, and then you can you can set it to where it pulls up the cheapest plan first for your group of drugs. So it all is dependent on what group of medicines you take on a regular basis. That's the key to figuring out what you.
Information is what you guys you've got to, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, providing information to folks that it's very, very helpful.
Right. And the thing about it, though, David, really, I think it really symbolizes all that we do help seniors, and whether it's doggone paperwork or if they're trying to figure out, you know, if they need services in their home or if they need to go to our assisted living or whatever, you know, all they've got to do is call us, and we'll be glad to work with them.
Well, there's a reason that White River area has been here for 35 years. There's a reason for that. You guys are doing a great job. What else, Miss Peggy?
Well, you're talking about the paperwork, and this actually can be done online. We can help them enroll online.
Okay.
If they decide in the office that they want to make a change, that enrollment can be done online, and it's finished. They don't have to worry about going home and filling out paperwork. Right. Some of them like to take the information with them. We can print it out. They like to take it home and look at it and think about it, talk to their pharmacist.
Sure.
Maybe. So, you know, there's different ways that you can help people.
And, you know, sometimes you see those folks that you see the paperwork, you can see it in doctor's office. They get all that, it's almost a panic.
Yeah, I guarantee you.
So again,
yes, it is. Yes.
You know, everything's going to be all right.
Everything's going to be okay.
And the other part about Medicare is not just the open enrollment for people, but when people just go on Medicare,
right?
They they just get inundated with information from all the insurance companies, and I've had them bring this in and say, I'm getting all this stuff from all these companies. You know, I don't know what to do with it. So. You can kind of help them weed through that initial going on Medicare too, because there's Part A, there's Part B. Do you need a supplement? you need a prescription drug plan, do you want an Advantage plan? So there's a lot of information that needs
So,
to
David,
be.
when you get to 62 or
65.
Right, absolutely.
There's some decisions you have to make through all that.
I did start to say, Mr. Ted, that in thinking, somebody that's 58, you think about those things, but you don't think about them enough to say, part A, part B, part this, part that, part. Oh, my goodness, I need some help. Where do I go?
That's it.
Right here.
Right here.
Good to see you
So
guys.
It's good to call us when you turn 65.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We'll talk to you anytime.
At any time. I appreciate y'all so much. Peggy Pierce and Mr. Ted Hall at White River Area Agency on Aging. And let's continue on with more of the Business Spotlight. Our good friend John Chadwell, NEDC in downtown Newport, Arkansas, and each and every month we get on Cable Channel 15 TV and on the web and YouTube and Facebook, and we talk about the good things going on in Newport, Arkansas. Welcome, my friend.
Yeah, hello.
How are you, sir? We've got some things to talk about today. Let's just get right after it, Mr. Chadwell.
We do. We are working with the Clinton School team again, and we've had a great partnership with the Clinton School. They've just been wonderful to work with. They've worked on the art show that we have. They've worked on the Blue Bridge project. And now this team that's coming this year is working on a kind of a new idea. And the idea is to build a database of all the people who've ever graduated from high school or college in Jackson County.
Okay.
And going back, 50 or 60 years. And then use that database to contact those folks about opportunities in Jackson County. One way we can use it is if we have a job opening. Let's say that the hospital's looking for a pediatrician.
Okay.
Then we could go to the database and find everybody who graduated from Newport or Tuckerman that is a pediatrician somewhere in the United States, and just send them a message and say, hey, look, if you'd like to come back home, we've got this job opening, we'd like for you to apply. A lot of them won't be interested.
Sure.
But if you have that one who says, yeah, mom and dad are getting a little older, I'd like to be home, or I want my kids to be a bulldog or a greyhound like I was, yeah, I think I might move back home.
Absolutely.
Then they might come back. Well, if the hospital can recruit somebody who's originally from here, the chances are they'll stay longer than recruiting somebody from a ways off. And so that's one option, and we think that's a really good, exciting thing. The second thing is there are a lot of alumni of our schools who give money, significant money, all over the United States. In fact, one of the Newport alumni just gave $7.3 million to the U of A.
Right.
Well, letting those folks know about the opportunities to maybe do an endowment at ASU Newport, at Tuckerman High School, at Newport High School, maybe to come back and fund some of the community improvements we have, just letting them know of the opportunities in their hometown, I bet they would be willing to say, hey, look, I'll give
Sure,
some
they
of that.
would, no doubt.
They probably wouldn't give all of it, but let's just give that 7.3. If they'd given $1 million to ASU Newport and $1 million to Newport High School in an endowment, then they could have still given 5.3 to U of A, but that $1 million each to those organizations here probably would have meant as much as the 7.3 million did to the
or
U of
more,
A.
or more so. Yeah, more so.
Or if we want to save the Blue Bridge, or if we want to do something else, and we can just send an email out to all the alumni and say, if you'd like to see this happen, here's where to send your donation, and let them see if they want to donate, and do something like that. So that's the second thing. The third way we can use it is like when we're going after the veterans home. You remember that?
Sure, absolutely.
And we've got one senator and one representative who do a great job for us. Okay, they do a fantastic job for us, but they're just one of each.
One voice.
One voice.
Yeah, one voice each.
Well, when you get down to a town like North Little Rock, you've got about 5 of each that touch them.
Sure.
Well, what if when we are recruiting something like that, we could email every alumni of a Jackson County school that lives in Arkansas and say, look, folks, we need you to call your senator and your representative and just tell them you'd like to see this happen in their hometown. Because the senator for Fayetteville has no dog in the hunt.
No, absolutely not.
They don't care if it's North Little Rock, if it's Newport, or if it's Jonesville. They don't care. But if our senator can walk down there and 4 people come up to him and say, hey, my constituents have called, and if you need my help, I'll be glad to help, then all of a sudden it helps us. And then there's one more way that we've thought of that it can help us, and I'm sure there's some others that'll come. But the other way we've thought that it'll help us is, let's say we're recruiting a company from Seattle, Washington. Well, let's get on there and find out what alumni we have living in Seattle and see if any of them have connections to this company.
Okay.
Who knows? One of them might live next door to the CEO.
That's right, absolutely.
Be his hunting buddy or something. Any advantage we get in that competition is a good thing, and so they might be able to help us there. Some of that's confidential, so we'd have to watch, what we do, but I think it would be an opportunity to help out.
I think no doubt what you're talking about here with this database is it's an example of how we are working to give us a plus, to give us an advantage on doing something positive for this community, no doubt.
Well, and our whole goal at the NEDC is to be proactive.
Right.
You know, don't just react. If you're going to sit around and wait for companies to call and you're going to sit around for this, then you're reacting. You're just reacting to what somebody else does. We don't want to do that. We want to be proactive. We want to find things we can do. Now, I can't make a company choose to move to a new place, but I can make the community a place where, well, let's just say we have a company coming and they're going to move. They're looking to move into us, and I tell them, look, I know you're going to need 2 electrical engineers, you're going to need an industrial engineer, you're going to need this. We've got this database of all the alumni who've ever come from this county, and we'll email all of them in that category and tell them to, and I bet you'll find some good hometown people who want to move back. Well, that's an advantage we have that another town doesn't have.
Absolutely.
One thing that we've thought about is at the end of every year, we'll just mail out, by old snail mail, maybe a progress report. Print us up a little colored progress report, and then all the people who've graduated for the last 50 years can see all the good stuff's going on, just so that they know, even if they don't have an interest in moving back here, they know what's happening in their hometown.
Well, it's pretty good. You know, I put the Greyhound games on our website, and I have gotten countless emails this year of people throughout the country who say, thank you, I learned about it, and I've been watching the games. And I mean, it's pretty neat. It's amazing what the technology can do. But
it is, and we're excited about it. The students are going to help us figure out what the database, what kind of program to use for the database. They're going to help us figure out what information we probably need to collect. They're going to help us work on a privacy statement. And then they're going to help us work on the rules of the usage of the database, because, you know, we won't give it to anybody, we won't sell it to anybody, because if people start getting spam because they're in the database, they don't want to be in the database.
Sure, absolutely.
So we'll restrict that, and then everything will have to go through a clearinghouse committee. There'll be a committee that reviews all the requests to send stuff out, and then we'll also have to figure out what's the good number of times per year to send this out. You know, if you get something every day, it's not long.
You're not going to.
I'm gonna opt out, and I don't want it. But if you get something maybe 4 times a year, 5 times a year, then that's probably
pretty interesting thing.
We're going to kind of look at that, and they'll have then the goal of the Clinton School is for Newport to do this and make it a template that they can just take to any county that's interested and say, hey, here's how you do it. You know, it's kind of like database in a box. You got everything here, and all you got to do is plug in your information. You're ready to go. And so that'll be another thing that gives Newport a good reputation around the state.
Let's get to a couple other things real quick. One of them including New Vision Newport.
Well, New Vision Newport does a similar thing. They've got some projects going on. The class is divided into 3 groups that are working on projects. One is going to work on the park downtown where the well is and doing some additional improvements there. One team is going to work on a Economic Development 101 seminar for our businesses, where they'll bring in all these speakers with all the resources for our local businesses so folks can come and listen and hear and learn a little bit about what's available for them to be able to do. And then the other one is working with the Historical Society to create a local historical marker program where local properties of interest can be marked and have something there. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be real exciting.
Well, and also downtown Newport with the sidewalk project and the new lights downtown. If you haven't been to downtown Newport recently, please drive down there and look, because it's pretty neat down there. But let's quickly get to, hey, our old Walmart building looks pretty nice out there, doesn't it?
When you drive by now and drive by, it looks like Walmart's open again with all the cars
parked
out there.
It does.
And I went. As y'all are watching this, all of the business will have opened. I went by for the Goodwill opening, and there was a crowd.
There was a crowd that day, no doubt.
And then I went by about 2 hours after Dollar Tree opened, and they were packed as well, and they had a lot of people. And then as we're recording this, Tractor Supply will open actually 2 days, Saturday.
Right, absolutely.
And so, but the interesting thing I found was I walked through Dollar Tree for a few minutes, and 100, 150 people in there. I knew 2 people out of the whole crowd.
Really?
Which means it's probably a lot of folks coming in from the outside.
Absolutely.
Well, that just means they're coming in and spending their money in Newport.
Right.
Which is a great thing for us.
You bet. You bet. Hey, a lot of interesting stuff going on, and we tell folks right here on this program, hey, it's great to be living in Newport, Arkansas. It's a great time to be living in this city, no doubt.
It is. We're moving up, and things are looking great.
John Chadwell, good to see you, my friend. It's always a pleasure to come down and get to visit and find out the great things that are going on in our little old town.
Well, thanks for doing it.
Let's continue on with more of the Business Spotlight. Tommy Allen, Dillinger Funeral Home, and get to come and visit with him at least once a month, and sometimes more than that. We're attending funerals at the funeral home, and Tommy, it's fall time. It's a beautiful time of year, and I want to talk just a little bit on Dillinger Funeral Home's nickel about the auction that we had this past week down at Depot Days and talk about raising a little money, and let's talk about what that money's for.
Well, you know, we had a good time, had a good turnout. The bids were good, and we just enjoyed doing it and raised some money to help the community. And you know, we take care of any child that needs glasses.
Right.
No questions asked. We take care of that. The adults that need glasses that are limited with income, we help them also. Sure. We help people that go blind after they become adults. We support Lions World Service for the Blind in Little Rock, and they rehabilitate and help the adults to be productive in life if something happens that they go blind after they become adults. We also support Mid-South Hearing and Sight in Tennessee, and they help us with people that have pressure in their eyes and things of that nature that need surgery, and hearing aids and that kind of stuff.
Lions Club been a civic organization that's been what I call healthy in Newport, Arkansas, and you guys continue to have a great organization and got a bunch of good folks in the organization that help and hustle and go out and do what you have to do. And like you say, we're helping folks.
We are helping folks. And we have a good time with fellowship, and Lions Club is good in Jackson County.
Pretty good segue when you talk about helping folks, when you talk about what you do to earn a living, which is the manager of Dillinger Funeral Home. That's a helping business, to say the least, and you guys help folks and families on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, follow up with those folks. You got to have good personnel to do that. We've often talked about your staff here and how good this staff is and how dedicated they are. Talk a little bit about the staff.
Very proud of the staff. You talk about the funeral home helping people, and you know, my father's a minister, retired now, but we moved different places, and whenever I come to Dillinger Funeral Home, I probably hadn't been in a funeral home 3 times in my life, and but it didn't take me long to figure out that I really loved this. I had opportunity to help people, families, at one of the lowest points of their life, and I have a little bit to do with helping them put their life back together. We have a fantastic staff, and I've told you before that everybody here was invited to work here. Everybody comes and stays a long time.
They do that.
And we're kind of a small family, but we'll start with Leslie Monday, Cockrell, and she's usually the first person you see when you walk in the door. And
smiling face.
Smiling face, very efficient. She's a wonderful asset to Dillinger Funeral Home.
Right.
And Marty Gates has been here since '95, and does a fantastic job. Everybody loves Marty. And Anthony has worked here since he was 16.
Sure.
As soon as he graduated high school, went to mortuary school, and he just always knew that he wanted to be in the funeral business. He was about 3 years old when I went to work here.
Right.
And so he does a fantastic job with our preparation. And so, you know, the people, Arthur Tidwell works part-time,
Sure.
helps us with funerals, and Arthur's been working funerals for about 40 years.
Long time, hasn't he?
Long time.
Yes, sir.
And we're just so fortunate to have good staff. We got Dean Van Winkle that has been here a long time, and he works part-time and helps us. And then we have Sue and Roger Asher that host and hostess for our visitation. Just good folk, good Christian folks, and we're just glad to have them all.
Let me ask you this, and we talk about a staff, and you talk about that, get it in your blood, because most people, when they come to work at Dillinger, they stay, just like you mentioned. They stay a long, long time.
Yes.
What did you've been here a long time, what you want to do? What when you were young, before you got into the funeral, what did you want to do? What I don't guess we've ever talked about. What did you really want to do before you got in the funeral business?
You know, retirement was good for me at 17. The money wasn't right.
The money wasn't right on that, was it? Yes, sir. But the hours were great, weren't they?
The hours were great.
Yes,
Hours were great. I wanted to be a mechanic.
Okay.
And that's I rebuilt my first engine when I was 15 years old.
Right.
In the shop at Ball Knob High School.
Right.
And I worked for Otasco at Ball Knob until after school, till I got out of school. You know, I done small engines and shocks, and back then a lot of cars come without air conditioners. We installed air conditioners.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
Mufflers. That's before the day they welded them together.
Yeah.
You clamped them. But
yes, sir.
That's what I thought I wanted to do. And
well, you know, and you still somewhat do that as a hobby in the old automobile. I don't know if you actually get in there, and you may work on them. I don't know, but get an automobile and it's not quite in mint condition, and you kind of turn that thing around, and it's a lot of fun to have. It's a nice habit to be in when it's a life dream of yours, if that's what you want to do, and you can spread the wealth, so to say, with Dillinger Funeral Home, and then enjoy yourself as a good hobby. It's a good hobby to be in.
Well, when your sons start getting old enough to have vehicles, then you have to take a lot of time to keep them going. And,
yes, you do. Yes, sir.
I have 4 boys, and every one of them I've had to do something for them, and Chase is 20, and I work on his truck every week.
Is that right? Is that right? Is he thankful?
He is very appreciative.
I guarantee you.
Very
Yes, I
appreciative.
guarantee you.
But I just, I've always had a love for automobiles.
Right, absolutely,
and, and I enjoy working on them. I don't do as much now as I did when I was younger, but I've fixed a few of them.
I guarantee you have. Yeah, you take one that doesn't look so good and make it look pretty good, can't you?
Look pretty good.
Tommy, I was visiting with a man the other day. I just want to share this with you, and I'm not going to tell you who it was, but he was talking about what a great family man that Tommy Allen was. He was really, he said he's a genuine guy. So he's a great person to be around. He said he's just a great family man. And I told him, I said, I don't know that you could give anybody a better compliment than that. Pretty good family man. So
I appreciate that.
You're at the top of his list.
I'm on a lot of lists. not at the top.
That's right. That's right. Well, sometimes it's good to be at the top of this list. But I know the folks. If you need a choice and you're looking for a funeral home and somebody that'll take care of you, man, that's what we do.
We consider it one of the highest honors when a family entrusts the care of their loved one to us. It's just we have the opportunity to help families, and that's what we do.
Tommy, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you.
Dillinger Funeral Home for many, many years right out here on Highway 367 north of Newport, or 167 or 967.
Well, they keep changing it.
Yeah, they change about every 2 years, but good to see you. Let's
see
continue on with more of our show.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the October edition of the County Agents Report. I'm Randy Klepechko with the Jackson County office of the University of Arkansas Cooperative Extension Service. Well, I'm not going to be talking about anything specifically agriculture related this month. As many of you probably know, I retired from the University of Arkansas Cooperative Extension Service on October the 1st, and this will be my last edition of the County Agents Report as such. I certainly want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for their support and use of the programs, offered by the University of Arkansas Cooperative Extension Service over the past 26 plus years. That's how long that I've been in Jackson County. The support of the citizens of Jackson County has truly been overwhelming over those years. A large portion of our clientele has become much more than clientele to me over the years. Many of these people have become friends, and I'll certainly miss that part of the job, working with all these people in Jackson County. I truly believe that God has a plan for each of us, and there's no doubt in my mind that His plan for me included coming to Jackson County as the county agent, about 26 years ago. The job was absolutely perfect for me, and that's the reason I was here for so long, not really wanting to go anywhere else, because this really became home. This is not the last time you're going to see me on Cable 15 discussing agriculture-related issues. David has asked me to continue with a monthly farm report. It just won't be a county agent's report because I won't be a county agent anymore. I'll probably change the format of the program just a little bit, while still discussing timely topics for farmers. I'll try to include a little more information of interest to non-farmers and emphasize the importance of agriculture to non-farmers. And I obviously won't film another program in this office. I'll be out in the field or somewhere else, for the background for our programs in the future. But again, just wanted to thank everybody for their support over the years. And again, I'll have another report of some type starting next month. So until then, this has been Randy Klepeczka with my last edition of the Jackson County Extension Service Report.
Reliability in today's technology is what you'll receive with every T&L pivot system. T&L offers 3 control systems that best meet your needs. First, the TLC computer control features speed and direction control at any degree of the circle, as well as chemigation, measurements, and more. Second, the new speed and direction control at the pivot point has all the convenience of the computer control without the complexity. Third, the standard speed and direction control, the simplest and most reliable in the industry. See your T&L dealer today to find out more about the leading management tools for your T&L irrigation systems.